Hello and good evening. It's the 4th of June 2021. Welcome to the UBC News Tonight with Wadulo, Mark, Arnold, Mugulu, Mohammed will be joining us shortly. We're now honored to give you the headlines before we start out with the bulletin. In our headlines tonight, President Museveni advises police to use cameras effectively. Furthermore, Haruna Kayondo, General Katumba's driver, laid to rest in Bukomansindi. On the international scene, Israeli opposition leaders form coalition to oust PM Netanyahu. And in sports, cricket, basketball suspend activities. We'll find out why. Thank you for joining us once again. We now give you the news in detail. To start off our bulletin tonight, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has highlighted that the economy has grown from $1.3 billion to $40 billion, adding that by 2026, the economy is estimated to be at $69 billion or $193 billion, according to the PPP method. He, however, revealed that he wasn't satisfied by this level of performance, comparing to some companies in the USA that have annual turnovers of billions of dollars, which are more than the GDP of many African economies. Let's take a look at what the report says.
For us to sit here, how and why should a company have a size of business that is bigger than the economy of a whole country? The combined GDP of East Africa is 440 billion. The whole of East Africa, $440 billion. One company in the US called Walmart, $560 billion. You have seen how some of the individual companies have business sizes comparable to the combined economies of the whole of East Africa. Hence, in the medium term, we must aim at the size of the economy of at least $300 billion by foreign exchange method. By 2026, Uganda's population will be 48 million people. If each person is earning $3,000, each person per head is earning, or people are earning, for the children will not be earning, but their parents can earn for them. Earning US dollars 3,000 per year, that would be $144 billion. This will just be people's incomes without including infrastructure. Yet, US dollar 3,000 per person per year translates to shillings 10.8 million per person per year. And for a household of 5, this would translate to Uganda shillings 54 million per year. If each person was earning $3,000 in Uganda shillings for a household of 5, it will translate to 54 million shillings per year. Some of our households, like if you take the ones of Ruengaju, the one in near Fort Potro, Mr. Nyakana and his group, using 1 acre, are already earning shillings 240 million.
Definitely a major concern to many African countries. Yes, I think also that calls for having African solutions to solve African problems. However, still, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni said that government has leads to the attackers of General Edward Katumba Wamala. While delivering his State of the Nation address, Mr. Museveni said that the details of the gun used in the attack have been identified and those involved will be got.
provided for under Article 101 of the Constitution. State of the Nation address is delivered at the beginning of each session of Parliament. The President highlights achievements registered in the current financial year and plans for the next financial year. The assassination attempt on the life of General Edward Katumba Wamala and the state of security in the country was part of this year's State of the Nation address delivered to the 11th Parliament at Koro Independence Grounds. President Museveni said the assassination attempt against former Works and Transport Minister General Edward Katumba Wamala, which left his daughter and driver dead, exposed the poor organization of the Uganda police.
The cameras I put in place did their work. As you saw, the killers were running from one area to another area. Why didn't the camera center alert all the patrol cars and even the UAVs? UAVs are these unmanned air vehicles. We have them. They can follow you anywhere once they are deployed.
President Museveni said their silence would have been intercepted and arrested if the police was well organized, especially in monitoring the cameras put in place to curb crime.
The criminals would then be on continuous viewing by all the camera centers if the policemen adopt my directives and rationality in the use of those cameras. So those cameras are there, but they are not fully used.
The President says one of the guns used to assassinate one of the former commanders of Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, Major Mohammed in 2016 is the same weapon which was used to spray bullets at General Katumba's car on June 1st, 2021, leaving his daughter, Brenda Nantong, and driver Haruna Kayondo dead.
For instance, the gun which was used is already identified, which was used in the case of the Katumba attack. It is the same one which was used in the Chugundu case. Chugundu, the Major Chugundu. And those, a number of those, not all of them, were arrested, but they were released by the courts on bail.
He also directed police officers to stop using mobile phones and revert radio calls as a form of prompt communication in an attempt to fight such criminality.
They abandoned using radio, they now use mobile phones. Hello, hello, hello. Now, mobile phone, you talk to only one person. Police don't work like that. Police work on a network. The police is directed, again, I had already directed them, but I repeat it, stop using mobile phones and go back to using radios that are open to all stations so that they can act promptly in emergencies like the one of General Katumba.
On corruption, the President warned the Minister of Finance and some committees of Parliament who he said are letting him down.
Corruption has become a real enemy. It starts in the Ministry of Finance, where projects are designed with supernumerary elements, extras. They make a project, but they add in things which are not there, which shouldn't be there. These bloated projects go to ministries, like Minister of Water and so on. Then to the committees of Parliament. You watch out. You watch out. Committees of Parliament. Then to the Auditor General, where there is collusion all the way, and there are agents along the way. Each one getting Injauro. I have the story now. I have the story, you will see. You will see. That's how I moved on the Uganda Airlines. They thought they were very smart, but they will find out what sort of people Bayekera are.
The State of the Nation address will be followed by the reading of the national budget for the fiscal year 2020-2021 on Friday next week at the same venue. Bernard Higa, UBC News.
On that same note, under the Public Finance Management Act, the State of the Nation address is supposed to be read before the passing of the national budget by Parliament. Now, in our in-depth analysis, we established that Parliament did the contrary to pass the financial budget 2021-22 before the reading of the State of the Nation address. The chairperson of the Budget Committee of the 10th Parliament, Amos Lugolobi, gladly offers us the relevance.
In fulfillment of the constitutional requirements stipulated in Article 101, Clause 1 of the Constitution of Uganda, the head of state is supposed to make speeches to the legislature outlining the state and condition in which Uganda is in. However, the enactment of the Public Finance Management Act, the State of the Nation address is supposed to take place before Parliament passes a budget. In this year's State of the Nation address, the law was breached, and the question is whether the State of the Nation address read today has relevance.
I think it is no longer relevant because the logic behind the State of the Nation address was that it's made before the budget is passed by Parliament. But the law changed to the effect that we pass the budget before the State of the Nation address is made. As we speak now, the budget is already passed. So the President is actually coming well after the budget was passed. Now, how is that going to influence the budget that is going to be read?
But what ought to have happened for Parliament to act in breach of the law?
I know that State of the Nation address is a constitutional matter, but somehow we should have changed that provision in the Constitution. You know, the same way we have changed the budget process, that Parliament has to pass the budget before it is read. So it could have wonderful content, but that content should have been debated by Parliament before the budget is passed. Now we are in a situation where the budget was passed and we cannot discuss it.
Was it deliberate for Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to ignore the advice of Parliament to have the law amended to avoid retrospective application of the law?
And that was the essence of the State of the Nation address, to guide the parliamentarians on what matters to discuss, which direction the President is taking in leading this country. You know, that direction now comes well after. So we advise the Ministry of Finance to change the law, actually to also involve changing the Constitution, but that has not been done.
Whereas the State of the Nation address is a situation analysis of the country's performance, we asked MPs what exactly is at stake.
The security in Uganda is still a problem, especially to the members of opposition, but we've seen that it is even going further to other people, even in the government. Recently, General Katumba was assassinated. Good enough, he wasn't shot dead.
That's not a big issue so much because the security in Uganda is perfect. That's what I know. But apart from these other pockets of insecurity around, which does not warrant us to say there is insecurity within Uganda.
The national security, like on Tuesday, what happened here was discrediting our ability to have security. And I'm a general being attacked to that extent.
Because you can never operate in an insecure economy, in an insecure space. Like you had recently, we had an attempted assassination on a general.
What disappoints me, when we come and say, yes, we have crews, but out of those crews, we never get anything to, you know.
However, the MPs are also worried of the country's ever-increasing appetite of debt borrowing.
How far are we in terms of borrowing? How are we going to pay back these borrowed monies? And where are we investing these monies which we are borrowing? And why borrow? Especially when we have some monies which are also being returned.
Classification of Uganda in terms of the debt burden. Of course, we are under class B in terms of having the confidence of IMF. So which means Uganda can secure funds any other time it wishes.
UBC News Tonight. In another development, General Katumba Wamala's driver Haruna Kayondo has been laid to rest at his ancestral home in Lugando, Bukango, sub-county in Komasimbi district, Uganda. People's Defense Forces soldiers and hundreds of friends and relatives attended the burial. It should be recalled that Haruna was killed during an assassination attempt on the life of the General Edward Katumba Wamala. These are the details.
The late driver General Katumba Wamala has been laid to rest. Sergeant Haruna Kayondo was shot dead during an attempted assassination of General Edward Katumba Wamala around Chistain Chisasi, a Kampala suburb, on Tuesday this week. Brigadier General Sande Deus, who represented the UPDF, warned criminals against turning their wrath against members of the forces.
Nga tuteka ekinene ne tusakolinga ekinene security naffe twebuuza naye ddala teri kirungi kyetukoze. So it is food for thought, especially bano bali mu bukulembeze bakama baffe naffe tubabuuza naye ddala lwaki ffe temutuwanira.
Members of Parliament representing Bukomansimbi asked the government to release reports of murdered persons, especially those killed with guns.
Abantu ne bajjamu ennyumba zaabwe enzigi ne bazikuulamu, abantu ne bababuzaawo. Embizi ezo zoba zisipootinge tuzirabe. Jeno negundi bizino negundi be bakoze ki? Be batta abantu.
The sister to the deceased, Nachimbugwe Madina, urged all well-wishers to support her, look after the children of her siblings, because it's a heavy burden on her. The wife to the deceased also expressed sadness over the murder of her husband, whom she says was calm.
Ekyamazima tulina bamuleko abawera 20. Naye nga nze nsigaddewo nga nze taata, nze ssenga, nze jjajja, buli kimu kyonna kyetololerako nze. Kayondo Aruna, ndi musanyufu nnyo yadde ndi munaku mutima.
The district Kadhi Bukomansimbi Sheikh Mohammed Waswa Semakade requested government to take action against the murderers. Haruna Kayondo joined the UPDF in 2002 and had risen to the rank of Sergeant. Kayondo, who is survived by a wife and children, has been laid to rest at his ancestral home in Lugando, Kalungu, Bukango sub-county, Bukomansimbi district.
Very, very sad indeed. And as Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, we send our condolences to the family and may God strengthen you. Let's now take a short commercial break. We'll return with more news after these messages.
Today in history.
Today marks 79 years since the World War II Battle of Midway began on June 4, 1942. The Battle of Midway began when the Japanese Navy attacked Midway, thinking the US forces would quickly be wiped out. But due to clever reconnaissance and by letting the Japanese believe there would be little resistance, the US were able to send 55 US dive bombers, which took full advantage of the poor strategy and sank 3 of the 4 Japanese carriers, all cluttered with aircraft and fuel. The attack on Midway resulted in the loss of 322 aircraft and 3,500 men from the Japanese Navy. And that day was today in history.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communications sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We're also streaming live on Facebook under the name tag UBC Television Uganda. Now, we take you to more news. Uganda Prison Service have dismissed allegations of hiding COVID-19 cases from the public. The spokesperson Uganda Prison Service, Frank Baine, says they have established special treatment centers with qualified health workers to respond to the cases related to coronavirus. Now, this follows questions raised by the public after the recent transfer of some inmates from Nakasongola to Gulu.
Uganda Prison Service spokesperson Frank Baine has dismissed allegations of hiding COVID-19 cases in prisons.
There is no reason for us to hide COVID-19 cases because I have been frequently on the media updating the public on the numbers of cases we have had.
Baine says the prison service recently had 20 female inmates affected by COVID-19 at Nakasongola prison who have since been sent to Gulu Central Prison for treatment.
We also got some 3 from Sanga, and those have been transferred to Mbarara Treatment Center. They are also asymptomatic. We have had 5 from Busesa. Busesa is one of the isolation centers in the southeastern region, and they have been transferred to Jinja treatment center. They are all in stable condition, and actually the majority of them are asymptomatic.
Despite the efforts to vaccinate all the prison staff, the prison service is still challenged by the limited doses of vaccines. Uganda Prison Service is expecting to roll out the vaccination of all prisoners against COVID-19 as soon as the vaccines are available.
Vaccination was strictly for staff for the first dose and second dose, but we are hopeful that when the batch, which was expected in May and has not come, when that batch comes, prisoners are part of the areas or the vulnerable groups that will have to be vaccinated. We are very optimistic about that.
So far, Uganda Prison Service have 1,103 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with 1 death. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
Furthermore, the Ministry of Health has launched the National COVID-19 Resurgence Plan aimed at providing a basis for response to the COVID-19 pandemic with the goal of integrating responses into the ongoing health system strengthening. Now, the former Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, revealed that government has committed the next financial 85 billion shillings to procure more vaccines in the country, and also appealed to the Ministry of Health senior officials to put in place a monitoring and tracking tool for resources.
Emergency plan officially launched for God and my country.
Ministry of Health has launched the National COVID-19 Resurgency Plan intended to provide a framework for the robust response to acute and a rise in the number of cases. The launch was graced by the implementing partners, Ministry of Health officials and development partners. Outgoing Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng reassured the public of vaccines availability.
Within 1 week, we will have over 175,000 doses. Shortly thereafter, we'll have some more vaccines coming in, and also the vaccines which government of Uganda has paid for will come in. So nobody will miss a dose if you have taken a dose. Just rest assured your vaccine will be available.
COVID-19 outbreak has evolved over time. Currently, the upsurges remain localized to the districts of Gulu, Arua, Kitgum, Wakiso and Kampala. Ministry of Health officials noted that Greater Kampala metropolitan area accounts for the greater bulk of the confirmed cases of about 57%, with Kampala district single-handedly contributing 48% to the national case count.
We are not doing very well. Uganda is among 3 countries in Africa, Namibia and Zambia, where we are having very serious resurgences. And all efforts have to be done to ensure that we bring down or control the pandemic. You clearly heard from the Director General how the facilities are getting full up very quickly. Actually, saying getting full up is an understatement. We should be saying they are full up. Because when we no longer have flow meters for oxygen, it is as good as having filled up facilities.
Health experts warn the public about the second wave as it also affects children. Most of the hospitals are full and urge the public to observe SOPs.
Intensive care unit for children should be expanded because the number of children is growing every day. It is time to stop the bickering. It is time to stop the rhetoric. It is time to focus on the danger that is in the house. It is in the house. It is not anywhere else.
The minister revealed that government has put aside 85 billion shillings for procurement of COVID-19 vaccines.
Starting July, government has already committed 85 billion Uganda shillings again for vaccines. And we need to track it and relate it to the $11 million already sent to UNICEF. So I humbly request the teams to work on a tracking tool for resources.
To the government, UNICEF is happy to announce that the government of Uganda has already transferred more than $11 million to UNICEF to procure vaccines for Uganda.
Development partners and government call for collective responsibility in order to tackle the deadly virus. Zahra Abigaba, UBC.
We shall now take a short commercial break and then come back with sports. But I want you to be observant of that story. If you noticed, everybody was putting on their masks even while they spoke. Most of the time when you want to speak, you have this urge to pull down your mask, and that's a wrong occurrence. So please do not put down your mask if you're having a conversation with someone. Oh yes, now in the world of sports, if the numbers of COVID-19 continue to surge, then the possibility of having sports activities suspended is likely. So far, the National Council of Sports has suspended basketball league games, and now cricket has also suspended its activities as the monitors surge, while FUFA has suspended spectators from stadiums. Let's take a look at what Helen Gizamba has to say.
I note that this was well managed at the beginning. But as we move on, a number of federations failed to live up to the expectation of council. You have heard, not now, but quite often before, I made several reminders and press releases warning and cautioning national sports federations to ensure that they comply with the COVID-19 guidelines. Some have not.
Sports has started feeling the heat, with cricket and basketball fully affected, while the football fraternity have suspended all supporters who had started coming to watch the games. National Council of Sports has halted all FUBA games, citing cases of new COVID-19 infections among its players, with the belief that the game being played on some courts that belong to universities, fans cannot be controlled. The Cricket Lady Cranes, on the other hand, had a trip to Rwanda for the Kwibuka cricket tournament, only to find 8 players testing COVID-19 positive. Cricket has since suspended all competitions going forward. General Secretary, National Council of Sports, Dr. Bernard Ogwell, says they are monitoring all sports activities closely, calling all 53 federations to be conscious.
Turning to some of the sports I'm aware of, I've already mentioned about cricket, which have already acted promptly to suspend their leagues and all other activities for a period of 10 days. We also have basketball, which has been running. And I note that by 2 days ago, there are about 14 cases which has been reported and confirmed positive, out of which I'm told 3 have been managed well. But we have lost 1 person from Power Betway Company, Betway Basketball Club. Now, one of the key issues we had to act on is, 1, to suspend with immediate effect the basketball league, which was going on concurrently in Uganda Christian University basketball courts and Kampala International University basketball courts. The challenge at hand is that there was no control, as guided by council, to have a closed door sports activities. The fans were accessing the stadiums and the playgrounds without any standard operating procedures being put in place.
Currently, only 13 outdoor sports disciplines have had sports activities, awaiting for National Council.
Well, and that brings us to the end of our News Tonight bulletin at 8 o'clock. Join us later on at 10 o'clock for a lengthier bulletin. However, allow me to re-emphasize that COVID-19 is actually real. People are actually dying, and the numbers say that this wave is actually stronger than previous waves. So, ladies and gentlemen, please abide by the SOPs. Wash your hands thoroughly with clean water and soap, and then wear a face mask. Also maintain a social distance. Don't go to crowded places if you don't really have to. And lastly, allow me send our condolences to the family of the Lumbasis. One of the reporters, Dennis Sigor, they lost their mother, and we send them our warm regards. Now, that is the end. Join us later on at 10 o'clock for a lengthy bulletin. See you then.
Hey there, Kutesa Mills Daily update. There is a slight reduction in the amount of rainfall received lately, more especially in the eastern part of our country, though the western is still having light showers. This is due to the ridge that is over the tip of South Africa that is pushing the rainfall of our country towards the northwestern of our country. That is the rainfall that we're receiving in the northwestern part of our region, but the rest of the country, it is due to the local effects, more especially the Lake Victoria. Tomorrow morning, though, we expect to wake up with light showers along lake shores, but the rest of the country is expected to have sunny conditions. Afternoon hour, though, we expect a pick-up of thunder showers, most especially in the east and the central part of our country. Temperature raise up to 31 degrees Celsius in the northern part of our country, 30 in the Karamoja regions. Across it's pretty hot at 31 degrees maximum, though in our capital city Kampala it's going to go a little bit lower at 25 degrees Celsius. You is expected to move out of our country. We are forecasting stormy conditions across Dubai, New York and Johannesburg. Pretty hot though across Dubai at 41 degrees Celsius. Hong Kong is expected to have light showers at 29 degrees Celsius. Thanks for tuning on to UBC. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.